Lovelies, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you will be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVP. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into today's video. So, lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and I thought to share with you guys where some pan-colored people actually have an agenda to recolonize the world. And this actually got me thinking, and I just decided to, put up some stitches revealing this agenda. I'm just going to roll it as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into it.
So yeah, as soon as I saw this guy, I knew exactly what was happening here. Well before then, I knew what was happening here. But are we kidding? He looks exactly like, I don't even know what to call it. Like that won't get me banned. Some sort of white nationalist. That he looks like that immediately. But the sadistic level that these men were trying to procreate, their entire agenda was to, and trigger warning, content warning, was to bleach Africa. That's what they were saying within their group chats. So they were mass procreating, and specifically with families who would provide them with Caucasian, blue-eyed, blonde children. They're trying to mass procreate. And I think they said if someone has 100 children, after 15 years, they have 15,000 descendants. Okay, so that's a lot of people who can come from one person's lineage. But these guys had been doing this, I think, for 12 years. I think there's so much information, but so he goes to Kenya and said that he was being, for lack of a better words, like pumped from everything, depositing, what did they say, 200 to 500 vials within like a 2-week span or a 1-week span while you're there. 500 vials, that's like 500 children right there. And then we're like adding the element. So like in Kenya, he's flying there. He's racist. He's flying to Kenya to use the donor facilities and have his expenses paid. And they're specifically asking for European donors. I'm very confused. So what's unclear is I don't know if the organization that he was donating to is also racist with nefarious goals. I don't know what the reason would be for in Kenya requesting European donors. I don't understand the request for that. But they treated it like a game, like as if all of that's not bad enough. Like they're basically trying to make the white population strong. That's basically what they're trying to do. As if that's not bad enough, they're also treating it like a game in a very disgusting way, literally mixing like a cocktail both of their secretions and then giving it to women unbeknownst, who are then injecting it themselves. Like I mean the whole entire thing is disgusting. Then we find out that they have other guys who are mass donors with the same goals. I mean, shut the whole thing down, lock every single person up. Just fining $100,000 for donating isn't enough. Every single one of those people should be in trouble and kept away from Kenya for sure.
Go. Have you seen The Man with 1,000 Kids on Netflix? One of the donors on there was saying that he was donating so that he could spread his white seed everywhere and effectually wipe out Kenya. His name is Anthony Greenfield. And at the end of the season, he said, and I quote, "So far I donated seedmen in the Netherlands, Belgium, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Kenya, and Uganda. but soon more countries to be colonized by my glorious and mighty white seed. Please go watch it. If you have not seen the documentary, go watch it. That quote was on the final episode, but yeah. Apparently him and one of, I guess, the man who had 1,000 kids were going back and forth, mixing their men together to see which one would effectually end up being the winning. I'm speechless. Go check it out and then come back and tell me what you think after you watch it. Have you seen the man?
Let's talk about the rise of the biracial black girl in Hollywood and what it means for the future of black female representation on screen. I want to start with the visual of Zendaya because I think there's no better person to really represent the success of mixed race women or even mixed race people in general on screen than Zendaya. That being said, the purpose of this video is not to bash Zendaya or anybody else that's going to be brought up in this video. Rather, I think Zendaya and the folks I'm going to be mentioning are examples of a much larger pattern that we're seeing in Hollywood that's indicative of a systemic issue related to colorism and anti-blackness within the media. Ultimately, this issue does not fall on the shoulders of one or two people, but rather will require extensive industry reform. So just keep that in mind. Now let's get into the video. If you haven't noticed, every coming-of-age show on Netflix, Hulu, Prime, etc. typically has a light-skinned biracial black girl as a lead or as a supporting character. Exhibit A, Outer Banks. Exhibit B, Never Have I Ever. Exhibit C, 13 Reasons Why. And Exhibit D, Ginny and Georgia. Now you might be wondering, okay, like who cares? Why are we talking about this? Ultimately, this is an issue worth discussing because one of the biggest criticisms that's been voiced by black women, as well as just black folks in general, is this dwindling representation of unambiguous black women on screen, particularly as main characters. For example, in the early 2000s, we had shows like Ant Farm, True Jackson VP, and Coco Jones starring in Let It Shine. But unfortunately, what we're now seeing is this trend of light-skinned biracial girls playing fully black characters. Let's take a look. We have Amandla Stenberg in The Hate U Give, who is the daughter of these two folks over here, Zendaya and Casey Undercover, Yara Shahidi in Blackish, and also I think it's important to mention that like a lot of the folks in the Blackish cast actually are mixed race, and that's a whole nother discussion because Kenya Barris has come under fire for his representation of the black family. I don't know if anybody remembers Kenya's show Black AF, but this was heavily criticized for its light-skin casting and the way at which it's felt like he was trying to present a very diluted form of the black family by only having light-skinned, racially ambiguous black children. Looking at how biracial black girls are becoming the sole form of representation for black femininity on screen is one piece of the puzzle, but it's also important to look at what happens when we have a biracial black girl and a black girl in the same show. And I think the best example of this is High School Musical, the musical, the series, starring Sophia Wiley and Dara Renee. From episode 1, Courtney, played by Dara Renee, is very much positioned as Nini, played by Olivia Rodrigo's black best friend, her sidekick, and she's sassy, she's kind of aggressive, and it honestly reeks of the angry black woman stereotype. Yet Sophia Wiley's character, Gina, is very much positioned as a lead and a character with substance and depth. It's also worth mentioning that Gina's love interest got significantly more screen time and attention compared to Courtney's. Like, why did we never see this guy? Or this guy? Like, you really never saw Courtney and Jet or Courtney and Howie together all that much. Yet the bulk of season 4 revolved around Gina and Ricky's love story. And on that note, one trend I'm noticing is the white boy and the biracial black girl being put together as love interests. This happens in Outer Banks, Spider-Man, and Ginny and Georgia. Now, I think this is really interesting because I think it represents a sharp contrast from what I was exposed to in terms of interracial relationships on screen. The very first memory I have of seeing interracial couples was really Rags with Keke Palmer and Max Schneider. And while we still have fully black girls being with white guys on screen, it's really interesting how I'm seeing less and less of this, and like I said, more of the white boy and the biracial black girl. This ultimately raises the larger question of, does blackness have to be diluted to be marketable? I don't know if you remember, but during the pandemic, Coco Jones released a video about what happened to her career and why she kind of fell off after Let It Shine. And in this video, she talks about how she was constantly told she was not marketable enough. Now, if you're watching that video in live time, you would see that a lot of people were commenting / comparing her to Zendaya, and how, despite the fact that Zendaya was never mentioned by name, that's what a lot of people jumped to. In no way am I trying to promote division between Coco Jones and Zendaya, but what's interesting is that they both were on the come up on Disney Channel around the same time, the early 2010s, and whereas Zendaya got Shake It Up and all of these major opportunities, Coco Jones really wasn't left with much. Now, I'm so proud of Coco Jones because she's now a Grammy winner, she's on Bel-Air, she's worked with Renee Rapp and Justin Timberlake, and Disney was a fool to really fumble that opportunity. It is really heartbreaking to see how a dark-skinned girl like Coco Jones was constantly passed over. And it really enforces this larger point that I'm trying to make, where it seems like the marketability of blackness is contingent upon having a black female in close proximity to whiteness through a romantic relationship or a friendship, or by simply casting a black girl that is half white. If you haven't noticed, there is definitely a biracial look in Hollywood. From what we've been discussing, it should be clear that the ideal biracial has white features, sand color / graham cracker colored skin, and 3B or 3C hair. This is important because despite the fact that Zendaya and Laura Harrier were both in Spider-Man and both of them are biracial, it seems like Zendaya is often the one that's most coded as biracial, whereas Laura Harrier is more positioned to be seen as a fully black woman. And we can infer that that is most likely because she's slightly darker than Zendaya and has different features. But what's problematic about Zendaya serving as one of the few examples of black femininity on screen is that it really oversimplifies what it means to be a mixed race person, and in this case a mixed race woman. Mixed race black people come in all different shades, have different features, and there's no one way to be biracial, and there should be no ideal biracial look. So when you constantly put out biracial girls that all look the same and have similar features, it upholds this idea that there's only one way to be biracial. And it's also harmful to fully black girls because they're really not seeing themselves in actresses like Zendaya. And while you could argue that Zendaya does look like some fully black girls who just came out light-skinned but have two black parents, at the end of the day, the majority of black girls with two black parents do tend to look darker than Zendaya. And so to have her be, their representation is very much misleading and ultimately harmful. While Zendaya has acknowledged that she is Hollywood's version of an acceptable black girl, mere acknowledgement isn't enough. Ultimately, what we need to see is reform from the very top, particularly within casting. Right? A casting director is the gatekeeper when it comes to a project. They decide who's getting the job and who's not. Therefore, if casting departments aren't diverse and they don't have a wide range of people with different skin tones and experiences and perspectives, then it's very unlikely that we're going to see any change. I want to end this video by saying that I am really proud of Zendaya, and as a mixed race person, it is really cool to see more mixed race representation on screen. That being said, we do have to ask the question, is biracial black progress necessarily progress for all black people? I've heard the argument that biracial progress is coming at the expense of blackness, and that's really heartbreaking to me because what benefits us does not necessarily benefit all black people. And so it's really important that as a mixed community, as biracials, that we really speak up about this and say something. Not in a light-skinned savior way, but at the very least, we need to say like, hey, this is unacceptable and we're not going to stand for it.
Like, seriously, lovelies, it just baffles me that there are some people like this that still exist. There are some people who reasons this way, which still exist, and they are actually left in the economy or in the system roaming around. So this pan-colored man who is all over, on Netflix, with his documentary, talking about how he wants to bleach Africa. Like, they have actually started from Kenya. Like, I don't get it. So they are trying, like, the plan is to actually try to, recolonize everyone with their, genetic, with their Neanderthals, right? And it's not as if they are doing this out of maybe relationship, out of, want to help, they want to help people that can't actually father a child, or people that can't actually, have the opportunity to be called, a mother, or, like, they are doing it with an intention. Like, and he is all over on Netflix, being documented. Like, I don't understand. So, the fact that they have really colonized, they colonized people in the past, and they are still doing that. The thing is that they actually want their gene, like he wants to make sure that his gene are all over, maybe Africa, after which reproduce, and maybe they want to try as much as they can to actually die out black people. Like, seriously, this is an agenda. I think that he shouldn't be the only one to blame in this scenario. The hospital, the people he signs contract with, they are also to be blamed. They are also to be held accountable, because how can you possibly, do such a thing? And the worst part of all of this is that him with his group of friends, they have a way of trying to mix up their, seed in order to reproduce. Like, what is happening? What is wrong with people? So somebody will just wake up in the morning and decide to think about what the kind of impact he wants to, leave on this planet Earth, and this is it. Like, these guys are so known of doing something so wild. Like, seriously. And the other guy that, the biracial guy that I stitched his video talking about how the entertainment industry, the movie industry, Hollywood, the way at which they want to present, a biracial looking as black Americans. Like, they want they want black people to be a representative of how biracial people looks like. They don't really want, the representation of the real black African black people, the way at which black people look like, me, the way at which people that looks like me. No, they want to present black people as people that looks like biracial people. This is why in the movie industry and the television programs and all of that, they want to like a black girl that presenting a light-skinned biracial. Like, seriously, when I say that this is an agenda, I know what I'm talking about. From this man with all of his documentary, now they are definitely done with other countries that they felt that, okay, their seed are all over there, which probably the seed will produce more seed that looks like them. Now they want to focus their attention now in Africa, using this intimidation of maybe Africa is filled with poverty and all of that. They try as much as they can to get themselves with all this online dating app, presenting themselves as someone that is in love, try to lure these ladies in. This lady believing that, okay, I am in love, we are in love. But these guys, at the back of their mind, they have a hidden agenda to place their seed in so many African women, right? Not only do they do this in terms of donations, they also do it in terms of relationship. So they're just doing it to just satisfy their ego of being the dominant. They want to dominate. They want to be the one to dominate. Like the quest of power. That is why when white supremacy, the way at which white privilege, when it's brought upon in the table to talk about, they don't want you to talk about it because they enjoy the fact that privilege, the privilege that they have, they enjoy, they like the dominance. Like, and anytime maybe you want to challenge them, they become so upset. Like, seriously, when I saw this video, I was like, this is not happening without any form of maybe repercussion. They need to question him. They need to the thing is that when I tried to check some of his, he was like, he knew exactly, and he's keeping the database of his seats. That means it's an agenda. He has a plan. He knows exactly what he's doing. For him to even have the track records of the people that, makes it very suspicious. And the hospital at which he donates, all of them need to be held accountable. Because this man, I believe that he had an agenda to actually, because it was said that he had a WhatsApp group. There are some group of pan-colored male like that are bragging on how to bleach Africans and other people they can actually give all of their Neanderthals to. Anyway, lovelies, when I saw this video, of course, I decided that I was just going to bring it up here for us to be aware of what is happening. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here to educate ourselves and give information to ourselves as well. And I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one. Do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like this video, share, leave your thoughts, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.